Healing the mind. It is interesting to see the things we do to keep our body healthy. We feed our body, we keep the body clean. When the body becomes sick, we go to the doctor and get medicine to cure the illnesses. We do so many things to keep the body healthy. An interesting question is, what do we do to keep our mind healthy? Have you given thought to this very important question? We have to be clear about what makes our mind sick, what makes our mind unhealthy. What are the symptoms of the human sicknesses of the mind? Meditation is learning about them and achieving a mind that is completely healthy. We can consider some emotions as contributing to the illnesses of the human mind. I would like to mention some of these emotions, and I'm sure everyone here can relate to them: anxiety, stress, fear, insecurity, and sadness. I can draw up a long list, which I think we can all relate to. Sometimes we don't realize that they make our mind sick. If we do not know that they can create our sickness, we can continue to have that sickness without finding a solution to it. In one of my talks I will be speaking about emotions, and I will present to you how meditation helps us to work with emotions. When I speak about emotions, I will be interested to hear from you what emotions really bother you in this country. So I will be presenting some practical ways of working with these unpleasant emotions and then finding a way to be free from these emotions. Another very important aspect of meditation is that meditation helps us to experience with full awareness things that arise. There are some who know very well what the Buddha taught, so they are very knowledgeable about Buddhism. But they have not experienced directly anything from the Buddha's teaching because they have not meditated. They are like people who know all about meals, but they have hardly tasted the food from the meals. So meditation helps us to taste, and when you have tasted it, you achieve a kind of appetite for the freedom of the mind. When you taste it, you really see for yourself how we can free ourselves. Why we meditate. Related to this is another point, that meditation helps us to become completely self-reliant. When you meditate, you realize that you have to take responsibility for what is happening in your mind. Sometimes I define meditation in my own words as finding the medicine for the sickness we have created ourselves. As we create the sickness ourselves, we have to find the medicine. When you are sick, if you want to heal yourself, you cannot tell others to take the medicine. The Buddha emphasized this point very much, to be self-reliant, to rely on one's own efforts. The Buddha said self-effort is the best effort. And when we develop self-effort, when we become self-reliant, then what happens is we learn to become completely self-confident about ourselves. When we have this self-confidence, when we see for ourselves that the medicine is helping, then that gives us more confidence in the medicine, and it also helps us to develop faith and confidence in the person who discovered the medicine. Meditation as exploration. Another thing, when we look at our minds, is to see how our perceptions give rise to our conceptions and how our conceptions can alter our perceptions also. In addition, we have to look at our bodies and sensations, how we relate to them, and what is the connection between the body and the mind. Take, for example, the question of physical pain. Normally, what do we do if there is physical pain? If we are sitting on the benches here, and After a time pain arises, we move. Why? Because we don't like it? But by that response, do we ever learn anything about pain? We just react in a very conditioned way. Now in meditation one tries to learn about pain. We try not to have that immediate, habitual reaction. We might learn that physical pain gives rise to various psychological states, dislike, fear, anxiety, and so forth. So then, we might try to see if it's possible to have this physical pain without having the psychological reaction. Related to pain, of course, is pleasure. We like pleasurable sensations to continue, and painful ones to stop. But in meditation we realize that what happens is often quite contrary. A beautiful way of living to what we want. By wanting certain sensations to continue, conflict arises, because we have made a projection of how we want the world to be. But when the world doesn't live up to our expectations, then there is conflict. Another area to try to explore in meditation is our relationships with other people and with the world. Most of our problems and conflicts, as well as our joys and happiness, derive from our relationships, the way we relate to ourselves and to our environment. In meditation one learns to understand these relationships, and through that to learn about ourselves. Also, our emotions are an important area to inquire into. Now normally when we are angry, for instance, we are just angry, with no consciousness of how that anger is affecting our body, or what psychological complexes it gives rise to. With someone who is not a meditator, if we ask them, "Why are you getting angry?" invariably we get the response that the other person is responsible, that they have provoked the anger. Now it is a very important aspect of meditation that one learns to take responsibility for what is happening in one's own mind, that we learn to no longer blame others, because that is the easy way out. If they are to blame, you don't have to do anything about it. This brings up the point that we create a world of our own from our conclusions, prejudices, expectations, and conditionings. Anything that does not correspond to this private world we have constructed gives rise to suffering and conflict. In meditation we come to understand this process, then we can learn that problems are mainly in relation to one's own conclusions about how the world should be. To put it another way, we realize that a lot of what we are seeing is subjective, and then we try to see how that subjectivity operates. Gradually we see how far we can become objective, learning to see things as they are, not as they should or must be. Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this video and want to see more amazing content, make sure to hit that subscribe button right down below. And don't forget to click the bell icon so you'll be the first to know when I upload new videos. That way, you'll never miss out. Thanks for all your support, and I'll see you in the next one.